Very good. I'm going to wait. Grammar books, excellent, teacher books, etc. Okay, so I'm going to explain very, very quickly. Okay, so in unit number 5, we were talking about consulting reference resources to help in lesson preparation. Okay, we saw that there are three types of references. We have reference materials, we have supplementary materials in a course book, we also have people that can help us, such as the headmasters, the principals, the same colleagues, etc. Okay, so we today or the previous class we were looking at reference materials. Okay, what is this? Well, for example, grammar books, they help me basically to explain and practice grammar. That's it. Okay, we also have some other kind of resources which will help me with my spelling, my pronunciation, and especially with my lexis, such as dictionaries. Okay, we have four types of dictionaries. Indeed, there are more, but we just looked at four. We saw about advanced learners dictionaries. We also saw about bilingual dictionaries, monolingual dictionaries, and special dictionaries. Special dictionaries such as dictionaries of collocation, idioms, phrasal verbs, etc. Okay, so just remember, for example, a bilingual dictionary is when you have the two languages in the same book, like you have one word in English and the translation in Spanish, or the other way around, the word in Spanish and the translation in English, and so on. Okay, and monolingual dictionaries are the ones that are in just one language. Okay, we also talk about books for teachers. You know that there are a range of books that can help us for our teaching. Okay, how to transmit, how to share the knowledge, the techniques, the methodology we can use, etc. This is for us like teachers. We most of the times have also books or articles about specific differences between learners L1 and English. Why this is important? Because many of students errors are from their mother language to the second language. Okay, so in this case we can also look at some books in which we can find the differences between these two languages, how to transmit without forgetting the L1, or how we can relate the two languages, etc. And this is good because we can prevent or we can have many solutions if they make mistakes. We have also supplementary materials. What are those? Where all the websites, all the worksheets, the flashcards, for example, who did, those are supplementary materials. Mhm. And finally, the teacher's books. You know that sometimes we have books that help us. They are from the course books, but we use them in order to have like a guideline of the things, of the resources, the audio transcripts, the phonemic charts, etc. But this is for us like teachers. Okay, so that was basically what we were talking the other class. We did some extra exercises like this one in which you had to relate the examples here with one of the purposes, let's say, of one of the materials, and so on. Okay, so Francisco, who did, I am wondering, do you have a question? I know that I explained very, very quickly, but it's because we saw that last class. But I need to know, do you have a question? Do you have a doubt, a comment? Would you like to say something? Would you like to add something maybe about your experience? It's okay for you. Thank you, Judith. I'm going to wait for Francisco's answer. All right, very good. Why I'm asking you this? Because now it's time for your sample test. Okay, remember that each class we have like kind of questions that are going to be or similar questions that might appear in your real TKT test. Okay, so I'm gonna read the instructions and please let me know in case you are having doubts. For questions from 1 to 7, look at the statements about reference resources and the three options for completing them listed in A, B, and C. Two of the options complete the statements correctly. One option does not. Choose the letter A, B, or C, which does not complete the statement correctly. Okay, so for example, number one, a language awareness book can help teachers too. Okay, and we have three options, but one of these doesn't have anything to do with this. Check their own use of language, improve their pronunciation, or vary their methodology. Okay, my suggestion for you teachers is to check the keywords. So we are talking about awareness. Okay, we must remember what awareness imply. Okay, you need to take that into account, and maybe if you don't know the answer like that, maybe with these keywords you can get it. Okay, because if we're talking about awareness, that we are talking about prevention. We are having kind of some ways to think before doing something. Okay, so I'm gonna give you 10 minutes to do it. Do you have a question? Are you ready to start? Ready, Francisco? Are you ready to, Judith? Excellent. So I'm going to give you 10 minutes maximum to do it. Remember, if you have a question during the test, please let me know. Start now. Remember, teachers, if you finish before, if you can, write the answers on the chat, or you can write the answers on your notebook. Just let me know so that we can continue. Please. Thank you. Teachers, I just want to inform you, you have 2 minutes to do it, to complete it. So if you're having question, let me know, please. Okay, time's up. So please, I hope you have finished, Francisco. Oh, yeah, you're typing your answer. Excellent. Okay, remember that in the real test, you're only having 120 minutes per 80 questions. So basically, you have more than 10 minutes, more or less. But anyway, okay, if you can do it earlier, that's better because in more difficult questions, you can have time. Okay, so here we have your answers. So thank you very much. I'm lost, but here we go. You say, Hoodie, don't worry, you're not lost. Indeed, I can see that many of your answers are similar. So, or you both are wrong, or you both are right. Number one for you is letter C, Barider methodology. Yes, maybe because here we're talking about, well, that's your answer, Francisco and Judith. Okay, because this is an awareness book. Awareness book is to improve something that you might have a complication with, like you have some difficulties to go ahead, right? But we will see. In number two, you have a different one. Who did you have? A, try out new teaching ideas. And in your case, Francisco, you wrote C, check the meaning, sorry, monitor their own use of language. I think I agree in this time with you, Francisco, because try new teaching ideas. Maybe that's why it's a teacher's resource, who did, because you want to improve as a teacher. So maybe you will need more ideas and activities. So in this case, I will go more for Francisco's answers. But don't worry, we will still check the answers from Cambridge. Okay. Number three, you both wrote B. Find L1 explanation of L1 two words. Remember, it's very difficult that in a bilingual dictionary we have okay, so I totally agree with you. We only have the meanings, sorry, the translation, let's say, but not the meanings. Number four, it's A for you who did, and for you, Francisco's letter C. A picture dictionary can help teachers revise abstract vocabulary with beginners, show the meaning of some common compound nouns. Okay, that will depend, right? Because here, for example, we don't have much context. We don't know if a picture dictionary, because there are high levels and they use picture dictionaries indeed. So we don't know if exactly with abstract or the meaning. But in this case, I will go more for Francisco's answer one more time, because abstract, most of the times they cannot be represented in a picture, in an image. But don't worry, maybe you are right, who did. Maybe Francisco and I are wrong. Number five, you wrote A, learn how to teach structures. I agree with you. Okay, but in this case, a learner's grammar book, I don't know, because it can also helps you to learn, sorry, to know how to explain it. Practice it, yes. Know what you know, of course, but maybe it can also help you. I explained that to you at the very beginning, but don't worry, we will check. A monolingual dictionary in L2 can help teachers too. And you wrote who did A, and you, Francisco, C. Okay, see all the meanings of a word. Teach students about rhythm and stress. So in this case, I will go more with who did, because I don't think that this is for rhythm and stress. That will be more a pronunciation dictionary, or with phonemes and everything. So in this case, I will go more with these answers. And finally, seven, a book about interference from different first language can help teachers too. You wrote CMB. Okay, find ideas for motivating learners or design relevant exercises. I don't know. This is very complicated because we're talking about interference. Okay, so I don't think so that motivation will be in this case. So I will go more for Francisco's answers. But don't worry. Let's check the ones from Cambridge. These are the real answers. Number one is letter C, correct. Excellent, teachers. Okay. Number two is letter C. As I told Judith, it can teach you new ideas because it's a books for teachers. Uh-huh. Number three, in this case, is letter B. Excellent, you both. Number four is letter C. One more time, as I told you. Who did maybe that this was very hard. But in this case, when we're talking about picture dictionaries, it's not very common to have abstract stuff. Okay, it has to be very simple. Number five, A, correct. Number six, it's letter C. Okay, teach students about rhythm and stress. Okay, correct. And finally, number seven, it's B. Find ideas for motivating learners. Okay, so nothing to do with motivation, right? So, Francisco, congratulations. You got all of them right. Okay, so very good, Francisco. You have been studying very, very hard. I can see. Okay. Let me tell you something who did. Francisco has gotten most of the sample tests, all the answers correct. So in planning, in now in materials, okay. But you did very well, who did. Even though you didn't come, you did very, very well too. So congratulations, you both. Congratulations. Yes, well done. You both. You both did it very well. Who did? It's a matter of getting used to one more time. You didn't attend last class. Maybe if you had attended the last class, you would have done it better today. But don't worry, don't worry. We will continue with more topics. Let me tell you something, teachers. We are finishing on April 11th. Okay, so that means in 2 weeks basically. So please, I will ask you a very big favor. Do not miss any class. Try not to miss any classes here, because next Monday we're going to be finishing module 2, and I'm going to be uploading a sample test for module 2, and we're going to have basically more than 1 week to see module 3. Module 3 is very simple, and it's even shorter than previous ones, but please, I will ask you not to miss any class. Okay, so let's continue. Francisco and Judith, by the way, I uploaded a sample test for module 1. I will be uploading, because of time situation, I have decided to upload the answers. You can answer the test, Francisco. Why not? Didn't you find the document? Isn't it there? Or because you didn't have time? Don't worry, Francisco, and you too, who did. It's there. It doesn't have a time limit. It's a PDF. You decide if you want to download it and print it. Remember, just to find a time, you need more or less 120 minutes. That means basically 1 hour and a half, 1 hour and a half, or a little bit more, so that you can sorry, almost 2 hours, right? Yes, 2 hours, sorry. So don't worry, you can do it. Try to do it, and I will be uploading the answers. Obviously, don't look to the answers until you are done with the test, and then you can check yourselves. And if you have a question, you can time me on Modo, or next class you can talk to me. Teacher, I have a doubt in this question. Can you help me? And so on. Okay. So let's continue. Meanwhile, we remember that we are in module 2, part 2, lesson planning and useful resources for language teaching. Mhm. And now we're going to go to unit number 6, that is selecting and use of coursebook materials. Okay, very good. So we're going to be talking today about coursebook materials, the same book that you have, how you can use it, how you can take advantage of that coursebook. For some reason you chose it. Maybe the school choose it, maybe you choose it. Whatever the reason is, this is your material, but we need to take advantage of this course book material. Okay, so I'm going to start reading. Course book materials are all the materials in a course book package that we use in the classroom to present and practice language and to develop learners language skills. Okay, for example, a course book package usually includes a student's book, a teacher's book, and audio and or video recorders, as well as transcripts, audio script, or transcripts. Okay, so I don't know. I want to ask you. I know maybe that you are teaching in many levels, but tell me, you have a package in your when you are teaching, right? What of these elements does your let's say teachers package have. In my case, for example, I always have the student's book, the teacher's books, and the audios. I don't work with video recorders because I have my own page in which we can watch videos. But like that, like the CDs or video recorders, not. I also have transcripts, audio script, and transcript too. Tape script, sorry, a tape script and transcript. So tell me, Judith and Francisco, what package do you have in your packaging of Coursebook? And a workbook too. I forgot to say to mention that we can also have workbooks. I didn't write it here, but workbooks enter in the course books. Workbooks. Okay, thank you, Judith. I'm saying it loudly. You say that you have workbooks, teacher's book, audio, and sometimes readings for students and big books with tales. Excellent. Having readings is good. It's really, really good. I don't have readings like that. I wish I had some of them. And tales, right? You teach to children, right, Judith? And Francisco, also student's book, teacher's book, CD audio, and the audio script sometimes depending on the publishing. Okay, so you work with different publishers, I can see. All right, very good. Fairy tales and everything, that's good. Children love tales, right? Mm-hmm. Excellent. So now, course book materials also include a workbook that I didn't mention before, but also include workbook or activity book, and there may also be a CD-room material for use with an interactive whiteboard or extra materials on the website. Okay. Uh, Teachers often base their selection of materials after a needs analysis, interest using questionnaires, interviews, diagnostic tests, etc. Okay, so most of the times, I don't know if you do it like that, or the school just gives you them. This is the principal just says, here's your course book, this is your packaging, and you will be working with this. Or do you select by yourselves? In my case, I don't select it. And some of the times we should do this. We should do questionnaires, we should do interviews, diagnosis tests to students to see their levels, to see what kind of course book will be appropriate with them. But as time situations and many different things, we don't normally do that. Okay, we are given just the things. Okay, don't forget that in this we can also have websites. Okay, pages in which you can work online exercises and all that stuff. Do you have this kind of resources, Francisco and Judith? Websites in your same course book? Yes, Judith? Oh no, sorry, that was from the previous one. Not really. Okay, but anyway, I know that you know more most of the web pages that your students can work. Some for audios. Okay, very good. Very good. In some books, but the links doesn't work. Ah, yes, that's another thing, right? That sometimes links are not very like useful because you cannot enter or they are too slow, etc. Yes. So I think that don't normally ask your students to use them, right? You prefer working in the classroom. Okay, now before selecting materials, we should ask ourselves, visually attractive, especially for you teachers that you teach to children. You know that they need to be very visually attractive. Is the material well organized? Is it culturally appropriate? Is it suitable for your learner's age? Is the material at the right level, etc.? Okay, so as you can see, all the questions before choosing a material, you need to be they need to be focused on the students, okay, not on yourself as a teacher. You need to think of the students, what age they have, okay, if they have some draws, if there are some words, if it is in color, if it's in black and white. Okay, all of these things you need to be focused on the teachers. Okay, if the answer to this question is not, you need to decide within replace the course book material or adapt them. Okay, so this is a very nice word and I really like it. Adapt the exercises from the book. Okay, maybe you will try to skip some of the exercises that are difficult or that you think that they are not very useful. Okay, but you can also adapt them. Okay, so I'm gonna provide you here a chart in which we can adapt material, and be careful and pay lots of attention because in the sample test maybe you will have something like that. Okay, you will have questions about adapting material. Okay, so here we have some strategies. Extending material. What is the problem? Maybe the task or exercise is too short, or maybe the learners need more practice. Okay, so extending material means to have more material so that they can practice more. What is the possible solution? Write extra items following the same patterns. So maybe they have an exercise about completing some sentences with past simple and past continuous, but there are only four sentences, and that's not enough according to you because we have positive, negative, interrogative. Maybe you can write some other sentences on the board. Okay, and that's how you can use the material in the book, but at the same time you give extra things, and that is called extending material. Okay, shortening material, this is the opposite. The task or exercise is too long, so the learners don't need so much practice. So okay, so the same simple past continuous, but now they have 50 sentences. You will say, oh my gosh, when I'm going to find the time to check the 50 sentences? So you just decide, please, students, only do these ones, as here it says. Use as much as you need, but do not feel you have to use it all. Give different parts of the text or tasks to different learners. Okay, so as I was telling you, maybe just, okay, from 1 to 8, and then we'll jump until 20 to 30, and then 40 to 50, because those are the ones that I'm going to be using, or that is going to be good for you. Okay, you can also change the methodology. This is called the strategy, changing the methodology. The task doesn't suit the learner's learning style. Okay, so you know that this is a big problem because sometimes you have only visual students, and maybe the task is for kinesthetic, and only you have like 5 students that are kinesthetic. Okay, so maybe you would try to change the activity, something that includes both styles. Okay, you want a change of pace. The course book often repeats the same kind of task. Okay, it's very repetitive. Okay, so what is the possible solution? Change the interaction pattern, sorry, example, use a matching task as a mainly activity. In this case, learners move around the class to find their patterns. As I told you, combine different styles, change the activity. You don't have to follow exactly. You are the leader in the classroom, remember. You can control the students, you can control activities. So try not to be like very repetitive. Okay, changes the level of the material. This is another strategy. For example, a problem could be the text or tasks are too easy or too difficult. Okay, so in this case, maybe for a student, for children, imagine that you have a text with many phrasal verbs in which students don't even know what phrasal verbs are. Okay, so in this case, that's too difficult. Or students are preparatory, that they look at pictures like very funny with fairy tales, and maybe it's very easy. Okay, what is a possible solution? Okay, in this case, make the material more challenging Example, learners try to answer comprehension questions before reading. So you can ask them orally indeed. Okay, tell me what is this? Tell me what is the text about? Maybe it is very easy so they can produce. Okay, make the materials less challenging, the opposite. Break up a long text into shorter sections. Okay, or maybe you can start helping them at the moment of reading, etc. Okay, so we have seen so far four strategies. Extending materials, that means make it longer because they need more practice. Shortening materials, make it shorter because they don't need too much practice. Changing the methodology because maybe it's repetitive or it's not useful, or and changing the level of the material. It's too easy or it's too difficult. So you need to have like a balance. Okay. Now let's continue reordering materials. In this case, the activities in the units in the books always follow the same sequence. The learners need to learn or practice things in a different order. So we as teachers, we tend a lot to follow the order, to follow the units, to follow the exercises. But remember, you can change it. If you think that first, before doing the exercises, you need to give the explanation, or the other way around, first the exercises, so that you can have the explanation with the examples, you can do it. Okay, so in this case, that is indeed the possible solution. Change the order of the material. Example, ask learner to cover up a page of part of a page so that they focus on what you want them to do first. Okay, very good. And making use of all the resources in the book. Okay, what is a problem? There is not enough practice material in a particular unit. So that's a problem. Okay, you want to practice more, but the course book or the things that you have in the book, they are not enough, right? The learners need to revise particular items. Okay, a problem is that maybe some of them have specific problems with a topic. So you can ask them, please go to page 20, and in that page, you can look at the irregular verbs, for example. But sometimes books don't have this kind of lists, right? Or you want to preview material in a future unit. Okay, so maybe you want to say, okay, please, next class, give me an investigation about this and this, but your student says, but I cannot do that, teachers, because I don't have internet at home. Okay, and you will say, well, you can look at this page, but maybe your book doesn't have it either. Okay, so what is a possible solution? Use extra material from the book: grammar, summaries, word lists, a list of irregular verbs, etc. Or give whole book tasks. Example, searching through the book for text, pictures, language examples, etc. Okay, so basically we have two left. Recording material means to change the stages, to change the activities. Maybe you will do first practice and then explanation, or first explanation and then practice. Okay, making use of all the resources in the book. That means that you can use everything in the book, or decide not to use it because the book doesn't have it, or as you said, for example, they have some audios online, but they don't open correctly. They are not like they don't work indeed. Okay, so what you do to skip them? If you cannot use them all, skip them, and that's it. Okay, so questions or problems about these teachers? Remember that this might come in your test. So tell me a comment, a question, something that you like to add. It's everything crystal clear. Thank you, Odit, for your answer. So no problems, it is clear. Okay, now we're going to do this exercise. This is an extra exercise, but you can have open answers. Okay, so there is a range of answers here. Look at the extras from a course book for teenagers. How could you adapt these materials if you wanted to use it with a group you are teaching? Think about the following criteria and use the questions in the key concept sections. We're not going to look at the concept questions. Okay, so we're going to check them, and in which in which ways you can adapt these activities. Okay, so here we have different. We have visual attractiveness, visual clarity, visual support to understand context and meaning, organization, cultural appropriateness, and language level. And we have here familiarity context, suitability for learners' age, needs, and interest, motivating topics to suit age, gender, experience, and personal interest of your learner, clarity of context and or explanation for learners to understand new language, and finally, opportunities to use language. Okay, how could you adapt materials? Okay, if you wanted to use it with a group you are teaching. Okay, so imagine that you want to have visual attractiveness. Okay, and all of them, sorry, you want to have, think of two things. For example, you have a topic, and you want to have visual attractiveness, but your book doesn't have visual attractiveness. Okay, so how would you manage to see that topic into a visual attractiveness, that it is visually attractive? Okay, so choose one of these topics. Choose first one topic, whatever you want. Comparative, superlatives, simple, adjectives, any topics. And try to tell me how would you adapt this material in order to have at least one of these characteristics, at least one. You can also have more. You can have visual clarity, you can have motivating topics, you can have opportunities to your language, etc. How will you adapt this one topic? Okay, so can you type it? I can wait for you. Don't worry, I can wait. This is very, very analytic. Very, very analytic. Okay, in my case, for example, I'm going to talk about verbs in the contrast between simple past and past continuous. Okay, so the book is for students of secondary, but I have preparatory students. Okay, so what I need to adapt is the language level because it's too basic. Okay, so in my case, what I'm going to do, they have sentences in which they need to fill the gaps with the correct verb. Okay, but in this case, I have decided to have the same ones, the same sentences, but I'm going to add more with more challenging, and the students need to figure out if it is positive, negative, or interrogative. And that's how I will adapt the activity. I am adapting the level, and I am making bigger. I am expanding it. Mhm. And at the same time, it's suitable for the learner's age, and needs and interests. Maybe it's they will need this activity, and it's more interesting than just this very basic. Mhm. So can you explain me in very, very few words, how would you manage to adapt an activity, maybe from your own classes, from your own experience, so that this class will be bigger, better for your students? Obviously, it's important for you to describe the problem. In my case, the problem is that the book is for secondary and I have high school students. So explain me the problem and then the adaptation. Okay, Judith has already answered. Thank you, Judith. I always have problems in having opportunity to use the language because kids are shy and nobody in my school or near speaks in English. Okay, very good. So what do you do with this problem, Judith? How do you adapt? How do you manage to use more language, to use the language? I'm dying to know it. Okay, thank you, Judith. You are telling me. So I tried to share with another teachers, and recently I got a ask call with a teacher I know in USA. So he asked them personal questions, and suddenly they start to speak with him. They started to speak with him. Not so good, of course. They are beginners, but they tried. Excellent, Judith. Okay, so this is very nice because you have a friend in the another teacher, okay, that is from the USA. So in this case, you are using a human resource. Okay, as I was telling you, you are using a human resource. Okay, he's asking questions. Okay, so maybe in this case, you are also motivating them. Okay, you are motivating the use. Here it says motivating topics, but it's okay because you are motivating them. Okay, and you are telling me that you want to make them to use the language, right? Okay, so you are also giving them opportunities to use the language. So as you can see, you are adapting. You are not using the course book like that. You are adapting it in order to make your students practice, be motivated, and so on. So very nice. Congratulations, Judith. Now, I'm going to read about Francisco's answer. The language level. For primary students in the books are not the right, so I try to adapt the level with easy exercises for the students. Clear explanations, use other resources to create interest in the language. Excellent, Francisco. So the level maybe is a little bit higher, right? Maybe most of the exercise, as I can see, Francisco, are difficult. So what you do is to skip them or shorten them. And then you adapt them by using easy exercises. Okay, maybe you print worksheets, maybe you write sentences on the board, maybe you have draws, etc., right? So that they can make it easier. And at the same as who did, you are motivating them and you are giving them interest. Okay, so you are looking at the needs and interests, the same as who did, right? Because that is the way that you use so to catch their attention and everything. Very good, teacher. So this was very reflexive. Okay, thank you very much for participating. Mhm. And in the sample test, you are going to have questions like these ones. You are going to have questions about adaptation. Okay, so as we are not having time today because the class is over at 8 p.m. Okay, so we're going to do the sample test on Monday. Remember, on Monday, we're going to be finishing with module 2. We are having 2 hours perfectly to finish module 2. Okay, and on Wednesday we're going to start module 3. Please, I want to beg you to do the sample test for module 1 because we're having only 2 weeks in case of having doubts, in case of you want me to explain you. Okay, and after the course finish, as soon as we come back from break time from the holidays, we can start talking about doing your test. Okay, so please save money, uh-huh, so that I will be very happy if you do at least one TKT test, at least one module. Okay, I will be very happy. Maybe if you do the modules, maybe you will decide to do at least module 1 and then go ahead and go ahead. How much does it cost? I don't know, Francisco. When I did it, it was about 100, no, sorry, 1,000, 1,200, more or less, something like that. 1,200, 1,400. Okay, but don't worry, I will investigate, I will research, and I will let you know. Okay, it's not that expensive. It's nothing for you, Paco. Oh, you are the richest teacher here, Paco. That's what Judith says, huh? All right. No, I'm sure. Okay, very good. So, thank you, teachers, for being with me tonight. And I hope to see you on Monday. I hope you can come and also the other teachers too. So, thank you very much and have an excellent weekend. Goodbye. Thank you. No, thank you, Francisco. Bye bye. Nice evening.